Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Mary.
Welcome to Chatterbox Box, an F1 podcast.
Box.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Chatterbox Box, where Emily and I chat and giggle about all things F1. We are back in our regular locations. I deeply apologize for all of the crappy audio. That was my bad. I tried so hard to make sure our mic setup was right and proper, but it did not like that room, even though it was a cozy setup for the both of us.
Yes, if you made it through our past two episodes with all the audio issues, you're a real one because we know it was bad. I don't know what happened because we did so many testers and it seemed fine. But when we got to editing, it was just very patchy and there was not really any solution for us to have a two mic situation. So we were trying to share the one mic. And anyway, yeah, we know the audio was terrible. And so we are happy to be back in our regular setup with our normal audio settings. Unfortunately, we filmed so much content that weekend that we were together, and we have all these other bonus episodes kind of on standby. I don't know if we're ever going to post them just because of how bad the audio situation was, but some of them are so funny. So I don't know, maybe they'll make an appearance during like summer break or winter break when we're like desperate for content. But for now, I think we are both happily taking a break from those videos because editing them also was such a nightmare.
Oh my gosh, yes. I think I cried a couple of times. It was not the best editing experience, and we've been through the whole editing shebang when we first started this podcast. So yeah, it's better now, but it definitely took us back to the original times where we were just trying to, I don't know, work through all of the kinks and stuff. But yes, we're here. I'm so excited. We got tatted since the last time we talked.
And show the viewers.
Oh, yes. So it's cute. I have the Ferrari logo. And then if I lay my arms down, like on the table, you see Forza. So it's cute. It's two angles. I usually wear sleeves. So typically when I have a sleeve and I like slightly roll it up, you'll see the Ferrari logo. For all of you listeners, it's basically a one-line, very abstract-ish type of Ferrari logo. And it was a fun time. I was a little bit scared for my life. I appreciated the fact that Emily was there because I definitely would not have gone through it and I would have backed out. But now I can happily say that I have my first tattoo, and it is a memorable tattoo.
I went to the tattoo shop with Mary, fully intending to also get this tattoo with her at the same time. But we specifically sought out this one person, and when we got there, she was like, "Okay, I'll do Mary, and then Emily, you can have my colleague like do yours." And I'm very picky about my tattoos. I didn't have any time to like research this guy, and I was like, no. So I backed out, but I did come through and go home the next day and get a tattoo from like one of my local people. I will not show you because it's like on my chest, but it also says Forza. So we're now not only podcast besties, we're also matching tattoo besties. So basically that's more permanent than marriage.
It really is. It's serious. Our friendship is going to last until death.
Partners in Ferrari. If we ever stop liking F1,
Really?
I don't know what we're gonna do, but it's fine.
It's fine. I think it's versatile enough. Forza, it's Italian. We like Italy.
Yes.
And the Ferrari logo, I like cars. So I can always spin it, we can
totally. And coming off the high that was Monaco.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. I have to say, every single time I was on social media after the Monaco race and I heard the Charles Leclerc speech from his win, I don't. What is that guy's name that does the commentary on F1 TV?
Julian Palmer and someone else.
I think it's Alex Jack.
Ah, Alex Dujac
Yeah,
is
Alex
correct.
Jacques. So we both watch on F1 TV. So I think we get this. I don't know if I'm right here. I think we get the Sky Sports commenters. So we get Alex Jacques and we don't get Crofty. So I did later hear Crofty's speech about Charles winning, but I have to say that Alex's was phenomenally emotional. I loved how Crofty was like, a hairdresser's son is a cut above the rest. Like, that was so clever. But the one that they did on F1 TV while he was winning actually like brought me to tears every time I heard it that entire week. It was just so well done. And I think, like, I don't know, did they do awards for that? Like, I feel like it should win an Emmy or something. Like, it's
Honestly,
so good.
to be a section at the end of the year where they go through all of the awards within F1 for best announcer, best announcing moment, commentator, whatever, because I listen to it and it brings me back to that moment where I obviously was touched. I was happy, but I don't think my emotions fully surfaced. I was just in shock. I was like, oh, Charles won.
It's like surreal.
Hooray. Yeah, I think even when I was sitting down to get the tattoo, it didn't fully sync with me until I think the next day. I was like, oh, I got tatted for this specific reason. And
Yeah.
Charles won the Monaco GP.
Yeah.
It finally then tears flew down. I was like, oh my God, it finally happened.
I know. I think this has been like such a fun experience all this season, all the different wins that we're getting, but especially the Charlotte and Monaco win. It makes me realize like why people like sports so much because we're not typically sports girlies. And we obviously really like F1. We have a podcast about it, right? But I think we can all say that last season was so expected all the time. It was just Max winning or Checo winning every single time, and then that one Carlos win. And actually getting a little bit more competition this year and getting to see other people win is just actually very emotional. I'm like, oh, sports are kind of emotional. Like, wait a minute.
I know. We got Lando winning, Charles winning. I mean, Carlos won as well. So now we have 4 winners. It's amazing. And Montreal did not disappoint.
Montreal was wow. I unfortunately missed the quali. It is my birthday weekend, so Saturday was my birthday, and I was busy and not able to watch the quali. But I heard it was very exciting and fun, and I was very surprised to see George Russell on pole position. That had me very shocked. Can you tell me how that happened? What was going on?
Yes. So I thought nothing of it. I think Q1, I was like, all right, yeah, sure, whatever. And then Q2 happens, and I'm still like a little bit tense because I see both Charles and Carlos not making it. There were times where they were in the top 10 and then they get bumped down, and I'm like heavily breathing, like, what is this? And then literally they didn't make it. I was so sad. I fear that we really did curse Ferrari because we got tattoos.
Don't say
because
that.
that was like the first time where they didn't qualify in Q3 this season. And I was shook. Like, the moment going from Monaco where everyone was chill, everyone was confident, Ferrari was doing their thing, they were like, they were feeling themselves, into Montreal. I was like, what is happening here? Because what is this?
Did it rain the whole quali?
No, not the whole quality. It was like wet and dry. And I think during the entire time there were threats of rain coming, but it was literally just like a couple sprinkles and it was okay. So I don't think it was necessarily because of the rain, but maybe the drivers had something on their mind. I don't know. Like, I definitely do not drive well in the rain. A lot of people don't drive well
No.
in the rain. It's
Oh my
scary.
gosh. It's so scary. And when
Scary.
I see them driving so fast and the mist coming up behind them, that must be completely blinding. The driver behind them, I would be crying my eyes out. I'm sure there's
Yes.
also some like technical reasons why some of the cars don't do as well in the wet conditions. So I'm just hoping this was a weird one off fluke for Ferrari because we need the boys to do well. If another race goes by with them not doing well and not winning or getting into at least like the final round of qualifying, I think the actual curse is that we're not together.
Oh, yeah. Knock on wood, though,
Mm.
because I want our boys to do well and I want Carlos
Yeah.
to have a proper send off. I love Carlos.
Yeah.
But Q3 was where the action was at. Everyone was literally on top of one another in terms of the times. And for all of our girlies and all of the fans that love the mid tier teams, V Carb, Aston Martin, Williams, they made it through Q3, which was awesome. I think I don't have the stats up in front of me, but I believe Danny Ricciardo was like 5th or 6th.
Oh wow.
Um, Alex Albon was, I think, 10th or 9th. Yuki was there too. Both men from Aston Martin were there. George Russell, iconic. Pole, I loved the fact that everyone like shared photos of his little like 2023 season opening stance. Love that. And I love the fact that Max had to put up a fight for P2. That was the most exciting thing. But it was literally the entire time, like they were all on top of each other. You didn't know how it was going to play out. And I think Max was doing one last run, as he
Mhm.
usually does. So he was at the bottom as well. And then
Mhm.
like he moved up. So I was like,
Wow.
but it was exciting.
Yeah, that sounds so exciting. I was very, very surprised to see George up there just because I feel like the Mercedes has been so mediocre this season. Just
Yeah.
consistently, they're in like seventh and eighth or sixth and seventh. It seems like Lewis in the number seven is like haunting him. Like,
Oh, I know.
I think maybe he'll break that once he gets his eighth championship. Is that why the seven keeps happening? I don't know, but I don't like it.
Oh,
So it's nice to see. I think he did qualify in seventh again, right? But he did well in the race, so I enjoyed that.
he did really well in the race. And yeah, he did, I think, qualify 7th. I
Mm.
did like just as a manifestation. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there for Emily's birthday. So we did a little manifestation and I sent her a little bit of money. I sent her $44.
Yes, turn up. It was. I think it worked because did you see what place he got in?
P4? P4?
So I think
Oh,
maybe it worked. So maybe you should send me $44 every
no. For the month of June, I might.
The race was wild. I was like so entertained. I was exhausted. I did not really sleep well. I was celebrating. So I'm very tired. And I thought I would have fallen asleep during the race. There were some moments my eyes were like drooping. But for the most part, I was on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God. I think I gasped audibly like a few times. I was like, like just right off the grip. I think the biggest shocker for the first like maybe 10 laps was K Mag.
Yes.
He
I
was
love K Mag.
hustling. He was just like picking them apart. I think he made it to fifth at one point. And then I don't know what they were doing with their pit stop strategy and why they pulled him in so soon. Hulk was like hustling his way up too. And then they both just flopped after they pitted. So that was really like major bummer.
I was so shocked. I love K Mag. I love what he's doing this season. If I were a Formula One driver, I know I've said this before, but if I was a Formula One driver, I would want to be on the same team K Mag is on. I don't care if it's Haas, Williams, Stake Sauber. I just want him on my team because I feel like we would both be.
I know K-Mag is a good driver. I think we don't get to see it very often in the Haas, but I didn't know he had that dog in him. I was like, wow, K-Mag. I was shook. He was just taking them out one by one, like no effort. Calm, cool, collected, opposite of me when I drive in the rain. So I was like, okay, that was so unfortunate how much they fell off after their pit stops. They didn't seem particularly long pit stops. I mean, they weren't like super short, 2, 3, 4 seconds, but I don't know what happened there. It was very strange. Very, very
It was
strange.
very strange.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you didn't fall asleep. I fell asleep, and I think this was my body and my psychology just protecting me from what was going to happen because I think I blacked out during that. I think after Logan was out through
Hmm.
Char. Tell me what happened there. Because I know Charles is
Ah,
mad. He's big mad. And it on Alex, the girlfriend's birthday, he's mad.
yeah, honestly, big weekend for birthdays. Like, shout out me, shout out Alex. But I honestly don't. I think it was the engine. Like, there was something wrong with the engine, and they pulled him in for a pit stop and kept him in the pit for a very long time. And then he came out last. And I don't know if the engine kept like not working or if they were just like, why bother putting wear and tear on the car when you're in last place? So I don't know what happened there, but it was very strange. I like blinked and then he was out. And I didn't really know what happened, but that was coming on the heels of such a heartbreaking moment with Logan getting out. And not only did Logan get out, but I am so sorry, Logan, I love you. You like ruined the trajectory of the race by getting out and causing that safety car because I was so excited that Lando pulled ahead of Max and he had this nice 11-second lead. And I think he could have won the race if it wasn't for the timing of that safety car and he didn't go into pit and it just like really threw off his whole race. And I was like, Logan, normally I love a good safety car chaos situation, but I thought that we were getting an exciting another non-max win. So that was such a bummer for both Logan and Lando. I was like, oh.
Oh, I know. And Logan, I think this time around, he did it twice. Like the first time,
Mhm.
it might not have caused a safety car. I think it
I don't
was like
think
a yellow
so.
flag, but
Yeah.
it cleared very quickly. It went from like yellow to green, and he was able to pick himself up. But then the second time around, like that was not a good thing. Poor Logan, poor Lando, because I saw that gap and it was like 11 seconds and then 15 seconds and then 20 seconds. And at one time, I think it was like 30 seconds. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, when Max went into
Crazy.
pit and he stayed out, the gap got really big, and then his pit stop just like threw everything out, and it was so sad. And then he
So
had this
sad.
one moment where he just slipped up a little bit. I think there were a few little like slip up moments because I think George got really flustered when I think it was Lando got past him, and then it seemed like he made the little mistake, and then Max got right past too, and I was like, oof. Oh, honestly, P1 through 5 was like neck and neck today. At any given
It,
moment, I was like, any of these 5 people might be on the podium. I don't even know what to expect. It was very abrupt, and I really enjoy when we get to see a lot of like switching back and forth for podium positions. It's very entertaining and very different than what we saw last year when it was just like Max and Checo up ahead with 20-second gaps, just like driving off into the sunset. So it's very fun to watch.
yeah, it was so exciting. I think if we had to sum it all up in a phrase or something like that, it would have to be the Battle of the Brit first. It was George and Lando, and
Hmm.
then it was George again with
Hmm.
Lewis. Honestly, that was intense. I know when you're in the rain, a lot can happen, especially if you're not on the dry path that all of the
Hmm.
drivers have created. And the second you inch away from that and you're like in a puddle, a lot of that could slip and or a lot of
Hmm.
that could make you slip. lose control. I think that's what happened with Carlos. And then poor Alex. I think Alex was
Mm-hmm.
so close to avoiding that, but then Carlos's car like did a little swoopy whoopy, and then they kissed a little, which is
Yeah.
sad for Alex. And that's like one of those unfortunate situations where you can't really blame anyone but the rain. So honestly, the rain can be very exciting, but at the same
Mhm.
time, the rain can suck.
Yeah, no, for real. And speaking of Battle of the Brits, Alex was driving a phenomenal race. That one overtake he did where he double overtook, I was like gobsmacked. I was like, whoa.
Incredible.
And then having to end his race early must have sucked because that was like a phenomenal move. So precise. It's like, wow, Alex. Okay. The rain really was causing some chaos, though. There was that whole thing with Yuki and you just saw his name drop down and I was like, what happened to Yuki? And then they finally show it and that was so scary. That was one of those situations where he bounced off the track and then bounced back in and totally could have had someone just completely T-bone him. But shout out Nico, really great reaction time and swerved out of the way just in time, which was so impressive to me. Like, get that Audi money, Nico, because wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. The rain does cause so much chaos, but also a whole heck of fun. We haven't really touched on this, obviously, or not so obviously anymore. Max won the race, but
Mm-hmm.
he really had to hustle. There was the Battle of the Brits, but it was like Max battling with the McLarens and also Mercedes, the M's. And that win was not always guaranteed.
No, and even when he got the win, I think it was only by 2 or 3 seconds. So I don't know. I'm really enjoying this season. I don't know if you watching for your first full season has ushered in good luck to the sport and like good energy because we haven't had the boring race yet this season. I don't think there was one that was maybe like, okay, this is a snooze fest. Like, what's going on? But I think maybe what race was that? One of the ones that was really late in the night that I didn't watch live. And then I like
Yeah.
rewatched it and I was like, oh, this is so boring. I was like skipping through.
I told you not to watch it. I don't remember what it was. And I know some people might say that Monaco is boring, but y'all are not real fans, okay? You
Monaco was
guys.
boring in terms of like on track action, but there was so much like meaning and significance to that race that you can never say it was fully boring.
No, no. We have to keep Monaco as like part of the
Mhm.
F1 schedule. It's fun. I know it's kind of boring, but just leave Monaco alone, okay?
Yeah,
No
yeah,
one wants
just
to hear that negativity.
it's fine. They can spruce up Monaco a little bit, maybe implement some pit stop rules, like mandatory extra
Exactly.
pit stops or something. I don't know. Or just leave it as it is like a fun, just culturally significant race that's like meaningful to the sport and just let them do their thing. Okay. It's pretty and it looks nice.
Exactly. And they now have a new citizen of Monaco with Oscar
Mhm.
Piastri. So
Exactly.
just leave it alone. There's always some
Exactly.
excitement, whether it's
Yeah.
on track or off track.
That's true. But speaking of being pretty and looking nice, Lewis Hamilton today was absolutely slaying. First of all, as always, his outfits were popping off this weekend. I don't know if you saw, but for those of you that follow us on social media, Mary did a video where she was wearing denim on denim because Rebecca, Carlos's girlfriend, was wearing denim on denim. And then just a few days later, who was wearing denim on denim? Lewis Hamilton. And so I think he might have been inspired.
He did. I don't know if it was him. Someone on the Almay account, Instagram account, liked my video, a little be real or B
Mm-hmm.
roll of me like pouring Almave into a wine glass. And I'm gonna say that he took a little sneaky peeky and was like, you know what would look nice next to my Almave? A little denim on denim.
Yeah, and he's like, got it. And then on my birthday, he wore this glittery outfit, and I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Lewis. And
Right?
then he gave us some amazing on-track action today with the Battle of the Brits Part 2 of him versus George. And there was a moment where we had Mr. Hamilton, Sir Hamilton himself, as a podium contender. He was in third for quite a bit, and then George slid right back on up there. I will say, as much as I love and worship the ground that Lewis Hamilton walks on, I did think it was fair for George to get on the podium after qualifying in first and fighting so hard that whole race. I would have felt a little sad for him to not even get on the podium, but I would have given it up to see Sir Lewis Hamilton on the podium.
Honestly, I probably would have given up my kidney. I was going to say my left
Your
kidney. I'm not
kidney.
sure. To see Max not on the podium. If it was George and Lando or Oscar.
British podium.
Yes, I'm telling you guys right now, I will sell my left kidney or my appendix, whatever it takes. Hit me up.
Honestly, it might be a good idea to get rid of your appendix, and then you could be like the GOAT. Like, who knows what greatness you would usher into your life when you get rid of your appendix.
Honestly, I might just have to get a tattoo of my appendix getting removed too.
Yeah, just add to it. But yeah, I enjoyed this race. I was happy. I wasn't even that annoyed to hear the Dutch national anthem again, because I was like, oh, we don't hear this all the time anymore, so I'll take it. I did miss the Ferrari team singing the Italian anthem. I always enjoy that, and I hope we get to see it again soon. But overall, I was pretty happy with this race. I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. And I also have to celebrate the fact that Yuki re-signed with VCarb. I think
Yes.
that is a long time coming. Yuki has been hustling. He has been putting in the work. He's consistently putting in or giving the team points. And the fact that he re-signed with VCarb for another year just makes my heart so happy.
Yes, it is so exciting. I'm so glad you brought this up, because there was a lot of interesting re-signing information this week that I think we obviously have to talk about. I actually was a little surprised to see that Yuki re-signed. Not that I don't think he should. I just felt surprised, because I just feel like there's been a lot of talk and like rumors about him maybe going somewhere else. And I think the big one last week was him going to Alpine. Because also, since we last recorded, they announced that Esteban will be leaving Alpine at the end of this season, freeing up that spot. So I think people were, and they also announced Pierre's staying, right?
It doesn't sound like it's a given that Pierre is going to sign with Alpine, although there are rumors that there is a decision and it's coming to an end. So it's likely that Pierre will stay with Alpine, but it's interesting. It was really cute, actually, when there were interviews asking Pierre about what he thought about Esteban leaving, and just knowing how tense their relationship has been. Pierre put together a very potentially rehearsed PRable thing, but it was quite respectable. He said that, they've been friends. It has been tense in the past, but Esteban has been a very cordial teammate, and they both have had a lot of things to work on. And he just hopes the best for Esty Bestie, which, even if it is like a PR thing, it's still nice to hear Pierre say that their tensions are a little bit calmer now.
I do think that there may be some truth to that statement. I think maybe their animosity gets blown up in Drive to Survive and just like in fan culture, because Esteban, I don't think we talked about this in our Monaco episode, because it happened after we recorded, but Esteban posted this long statement on his social media because he was getting a lot of hate after the race, and the general gist of it was just like, I feel like I'm being bullied online and I've been a good teammate here and me and Pierre are cool, basically TLDR. And I was like, are you sure about that? Because everybody thinks there's like a civil war. And I mean, they called it that in Drive to Survive. So I don't know. But then Pierre saying the same thing. It's like, maybe it's not actually as tense as people think it is. I don't know. So that is nice to hear. I think I would have liked, with that seat being empty, to see Yuki go there, just because I do think Yuki gets the non preferential treatment in the Red Bull hierarchy. If I was Yuki, I would be upset to not be moving up to the Red Bull seat, because also this week we got the news that Checo is re-signing with Red Bull for 2 years, which is actually very surprising to me. Think that's a mixed take, because some people are like, you shouldn't be surprised by this at all. But I am surprised by this because I don't think he's been consistently doing well. I like Checo. I think he has a good drive in him. I just think he may crumble under pressure a little bit. And he has been qualifying pretty poorly, hasn't been on the podium at all. And because of that, I think Red Bull is seriously at risk of not winning the Constructors' Championship this year. I think there's a really good chance they might lose out to Ferrari or McLaren. And so I thought that they would have prioritized the Constructors as well by bringing in someone who's equally good, like maybe putting Carlos there or like giving Yuki a chance so that the points are more even, because McLaren is going to keep the same drivers next year and continue with this momentum. Ferrari's going to have Charles and Lewis and obviously continue with their momentum. So I don't know. It seems like they just said never mind to the constructors, like see you later. And if I was Yuki, I would be upset because I would be like, why am I not getting a chance to promote? I've been consistently performing well, consistently out qualifying my teammate, pretty much is always in the points. I know he has some anger issues and stuff, but I don't know. I think I'm surprised he wanted to stay in the Red Bull family. What do you think?
Yeah, it's tough for me because I actually really love the friendship that Pierre and Yuki have. I don't know, something about them. They're both like, I think Yuki's secretly a menace and Pierre is just a troll. So, like, their energies just mesh really well together. But yeah, I can definitely see your side in the fact that Yuki, if I was Yuki, I might be pretty upset because Checo hasn't been doing really well. I do think in the beginning of the season, it was like a Red Bull 1-2, but it was
Mm-hmm.
never a Checo actually winning the races. It was always Max, then Checo, and then I don't know what it is. Like, I know Ferrari and McLaren and even Mercedes now have upgraded their cars and everyone's getting a little bit more confident, but like Max is doing consistently well. Like he's typically on the podium if he's not winning the race.
Mm-hmm.
And you see this odd disparity where like Max is in the top five and Checo's in like the bottom five. Or like they're just like on polar opposite ends. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just so interesting. I think it would have made sense, maybe, if they re-signed Checo for another year, but I'm also really disappointed that they did because there's Yuki that has been wanting to go to Red Bull. There's Liam Lawson,
Mm-hmm.
who I know we've talked about this, maybe not on the podcast, but I think Red Bull is ruining Liam's chance of getting to be on a Formula One team. I think he's supposed to be a reserve driver for Red Bull and VCarb up until 2025, right? And
Oh.
he's
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
not allowed
Yeah.
to work with any other teams. And by that point, what are you going to do? The longer you're away from actually driving a Formula One car, like he's not even able to drive in F2, F3, whatever. It seems he's just following the teams during the F1 schedule. The longer you're away from the car, the less familiarity you have, the less confidence you might have. I know there's like sim racing and driving on the simulator, but I know some drivers like Lewis don't even drive on the simulator because that experience sim and true driving on the track is so different.
Yeah, I think Liam is unfortunately getting the Logan treatment in a way. I mean, Logan got a chance to actually drive in F1, but what I mean by that is the team not really showing faith in Logan. I think it's put the nail in the coffin of his career, so that if Williams doesn't re-sign him, I think he's done because I don't know. I feel other teams will look at him and be like, I mean, his own team decided to just have him sit out and prioritize the other driver. So I think Liam is getting that same treatment because people, once this like little contract he has with Red Bull is up in 2025, people may be like, well, Red Bull had him and had a chance to give him a seat and decided not to. So why should I? And I think it unfortunately may be the end of his career. I hope I'm wrong because I really enjoyed the time that he got to race for Daniel. And I think he brought a lot of really fun energy to the sport. So I hope that I'm wrong. They haven't announced if Daniel is staying yet. I do think Daniel has been consistently performing a little bit better than he was, but I don't know if it's good enough to keep the seat. I was talking to someone today who says they really think Daniel's going to go to IndyCar, which I don't know why she thought that, if she had any substantiated reason or if it was just vibes. But I think they at least did Yuki a solid by announcing that he's staying on before Daniel. So maybe that made him to feel prioritized.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know Christian really loves Danny, and I know a lot of people love Danny, but I really want that last V carb seat going to someone else. I'm hoping it's Liam. I would love Liam to have another chance to prove himself. I think Danny's had a lot of chances at this point, and I think he is a little bit protected and like very well loved by both fans and Christian. But I don't know, maybe it's time to shake things up a little bit.
Yeah. And again, the talk on the town is, where is Carlos going? Where is he going to go? I don't know. The seats are dropping like flies. I delusionally thought he might get that Red Bull seat. I don't know. I think people, when I said that, people were like, why would you think that? But I did think it was going to happen. I don't know. I felt like if they were going to prioritize the constructors, that would have made sense. I don't know. So I guess we're left with Mercedes, but I don't think Mercedes would give him a long term contract. I think they might give him like a year because they seemed like they really want to get Kimi Antonelli up. And I think there's some debate on whether he's going to be able to come next season because of his license or something. So maybe they would say, let's take Carlos for a year and then we'll move Kimi up next year. There's also a seat at Haas available. There's the stake turned Audi. The big rumor that I'm continuously hearing is Carlos to Williams. And I just don't understand why. I know Alex Albon talked a lot about his decision to stay with Williams and how it was motivated by things that he knows is coming in the future. So maybe that would also lure Carlos in. I know that Williams used to be a winning team. I just think it would be such a shame to see someone who brought us 2 wins over the past 2 years so far end up on a back of the grid team. So I think I'm hoping he ends up at Mercedes or Aston Martin, but I don't know. Maybe he is going to Williams. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think he's going to Williams. I don't remember what source I read this from, but it was on my Google News dashboard. So it could have been like a really reputable news article or like one of those gossipy articles. But I think I read that Carlos laughed at the thought of him going to Williams. He explicitly said, "It makes me laugh."
Oh, okay. I mean, it makes me laugh too, though. I'm so sorry because I just feel like Williams is like a development team. I've also been intrigued by Alex Albon's decision to continue to stay there because I just feel that it's similar to VCarb. You just go there to start and then you move up. So I don't know. I feel confused. I hope he doesn't go there, but I'm starting to worry for Carlos because I fear that he may be seeking the perfect contract that has all the years of that is going to sign him for as many years as he wants and the exact dollar sign that he wants. And I fear that he may be like negotiating too much and be running out of options.
I trust that he knows what he's doing, but it is making me a little bit antsy. I'm sure Carlos has a huge team behind him to level set and make sure that while he has all of these desires and wants in his contract, that like hopefully this team will say, you know what, you're being a little bit ambitious. I think this is our best option right now. So I'm hopeful. I just don't know where he's going, but I'm sure wherever he goes, it'll be the right fit for him.
Yes, I really hope so. Other interesting news that we have to talk about, but I can't actually speak technically on. So just a little blurb. They announced a little bit about the 2026 changes that everybody's been up in arms about and saying everything is going to change in 2026. They provided more detail as to exactly why, and we learned that 2025 will be our last year with DRS, and DRS is out, and our new thing, MOM or mom, is in. So
Moms are in. Moms are so hot.
Yes, M stands for manual override mode, and that will be the new thing that's going on. I just feel that it's going to be so funny to listen to these commentators being like, and that's Max Verstappen with the mom.
I cannot wait. I feel like it's going to be such a moment, and it's going to take a while for all of us to get used to not hearing about the Daniel Ricciardo supremacy, like DRS.
Yes. I was just starting to understand DRS. And now we have to learn this new thing.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I think at a very high level, it should make overtaking a little bit more possible, and it'll allow our drivers to be a little bit closer to one another. But essentially, it'll help the car hunker down on top of the fact that you get a little bit more airflow because you're getting airflow from the front of the car and the back of the car.
Yeah, so it was a fun race. It was a fun week of news and re-signing and hypotheses about where Carlos Sainz is going. I feel like you could have a book at this point, like a Where's Waldo, but like where in the world is Carlos Sainz signing? Like, please let us know.
Yes, love that.
We also obviously have to do our bingo update. We didn't forget this time, so I love that for us. I think there's only one thing that we can cross off, and that is 5 DNFs in one race. We did finally get that. I wasn't sure we were going to get that this season, but we did. I still continue to wonder if we should check off Danny Rick thriving because he was in the points, but is that thriving? I don't know. I feel like we should only cross off Danny Rick thriving if he gets on a podium. That's going to be my executive decision.
I like that.
We had people commenting on our social media asking why we didn't check that off because of Miami, but he wasn't consistently good that whole weekend in Miami. So I still stand by that we are not checking that off yet. And I think there's one that now we can't check off. We had rumors of Danny Rick to Red Bull. I think we're never going to be able to check that off now because they announced that Checo is taking the seat. And we also have another box for Checo retires that we are not going to be able to cross off. So, unfortunately, we have learned this week that we will not be able to fully complete our bingo board. So, I guess we're going to just keep trying to see if we get another bingo. Or if we end up getting everything except for those two spots, maybe we'll just make a new one. as we say every week. You all are so tired of us talking about the bingo.
You're like, come on.
They're like,
Just make
no
a new
one
one.
cares. Just make a new one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's it for me today.
I think that is also it for me. This has been a really exciting race weekend. Happy birth week to Emily. Happy birth week to Alex. Happy race weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please let us know what your thoughts are on anything Formula One related, race related, fun things related at our socials at Chatterboxbox F1 on Instagram and Threads, or Chatterboxbox on TikTok. But yes, we will catch you for the next race. There's not going to be a bonus episode next weekend. For all of you American listeners, it is Father's Day next weekend. So if you are celebrating, happy Father's Day. If this is a tough time for you guys, I'm sending love to you guys as well. And if you are not celebrating Father's Day because you're not in America, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we will tune in on the Spain Grand Prix. And I think that will be one where I host all by myself. So
that is
I'm so excited.
True. Unfortunately, we realized that I will be traveling at the end of the month for the 2 races in a row. So we are going to take turns doing solo episodes, maybe with some guest stars. So y'all will be with Just Mary ? For Spain, and just me ? For Austria. So stay tuned. We're gonna miss doing this together. It's gonna be kind of weird, but we will be back in July together.
Yes, it is not going to be the end of chattering and giggling with Emily and Mary, but we'll be taking a short little break from each other just to accommodate for some of the traveling difference. But thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We will catch you for the next one. Over and out.
Bye.
Let's finish it off on a high.